Hey, how's it going? In this video, I'm going to be talking about how we were able to scale an online coaching and education business from around $250,000 all the way up to $25 million in just under 4 years using fulfillment events. Now, this is pretty obvious. I don't think it needs to be disclaimed, but I'm going to say it anyways. But these fulfillment events were not the only reason why this company made it to $25 million. This company had an amazing product, had some amazing coaches, an amazing team all around. However, at the core of the business, at the core of the product, the fulfillment events and just events in general were one of the main reasons why this business was able to scale so fast in the online coaching space, which is usually a pretty saturated space, and you usually don't see coaching businesses going from 0 to 25 million in just under 4 years. And for this video, I'm just going to be speaking purely from experience. I'm not going to be pretending like this is the only way to scale an online coaching business. I'm not going to pretend this is the only way to structure your events. I'm just going to be doing a case study on how we were able to scale our business and how we were able to structure our fulfillment events to achieve scale in that business. So this is just personal experience. This is what worked for us. I'm pretty confident that it'll work for you in your business if you implement it in a similar way. Obviously you can cater it to your specific business, but I think there is a lot of potential with fulfillment events for scaling online businesses. So I'm excited to share this stuff with you guys. All right, let's dive into it. Now, the first piece of this that I want to talk about is actually, in my opinion, the most powerful and really unlocks that potential for scale. And that is, it simply allows you to charge more. So having fulfillment events being a part of your stack, being a part of whether it's your service, your software, your coaching program, your course, whatever it is, having fulfillment events alone allows you to charge way more for that product. And that's because there's so much value in people coming together, meeting each other, and learning from others inside of the community. When we first started out at Fun Launch, we were selling products in the $2,000 to $5,000 range. But when we implemented fulfillment events into our product stack, we were actually able to go from selling our products for in that 5K range all the way up to 15 to 20K for the product, just because we implemented those fulfillment events. And of course, we added in some one-on-one coaching. We added in a bunch of other resources, but the fulfillment events were really what made this product what it was. And at the time, what the most surprising part was, is we didn't slow down at all. We increased the product price from 5K all the way up to 15 to 20K in that range, and people were still buying it like crazy. And since so much more revenue is being generated per purchase, that was really what allowed us to scale really fast when we started implementing these fulfillment events. And this all works because, like I mentioned at the beginning, is events are just so valuable for your clients, for the people inside of your programs. Because the education is great, learning is great, having the proper knowledge is great. But in my opinion, 80% of the value inside of online courses, coaching programs, services, whatever it is in the community and the people that you get to meet. Because we're talking potential business partners. We're talking about potential people to raise money from, or simply just other people that your community members can ask questions from and learn from. Because believe it or not, you and the coaches involved in your program don't know everything. And there's actually a lot of really talented people inside of your community. And in order to provide the most value to each one of them, you need to bring them together. So I could sit here all day and talk to you about how important and valuable events are, but I'll save that for a separate video. And if you're not already doing events for your online business, you're just gonna have to take my word for it. Implementing fulfillment events to your product stack will allow you to charge more, and it will provide so much more value to your customers. All right, the next way that fulfillment events allow you to achieve scale that I want to talk about is they actually increase retention. I'm sorry about my handwriting, it's pretty bad, but hopefully you can read that. It says increase retention. So what we found when we implemented fulfillment events into our product stack is it actually caused members to stay inside of our program longer. In fact, we saw that 80% of the people that renewed into our program and joined again attended at least 2 events during that year. And although this was kind of surprising at first, it really makes a ton of sense. Because another thing that events do is they create a really strong community. And human beings simply have a desire to be a part of something. They want to be a part of a community. They want to be a part of a group where they're understood and they're around like-minded individuals and they feel safe and they feel at home. And our fulfillment events have done that for the Fun Launch community. We have people inside of the program that don't even use the course anymore. They don't even use the coaching calls. They're just still in the product because they want to attend the events and they want to stay connected with everybody else that's in there. So if you're having a hard time keeping people inside of your program, inside of your online business, and you have a pretty high churn rate, I would highly recommend that you start implementing fulfillment events because it'll keep people in your program longer. And I'll dive into this in a little bit, but what we've actually done is we have strategically sprinkled our fulfillment events throughout the year so that always gives somebody something to chase throughout that year. So if someone's thinking about getting out of your program, like, I don't know if this is for me, I've been in it for a year. I think I might be done. Well, they have an event in a couple months, and everyone's talking about it. The hype is there. They don't really want to leave, so they stay in until that next one, and then they finish that event. They're awesome. They ride that high. They saw everyone. They saw all their friends. They learned a ton from you and the people around them. Maybe they even found a new business partner, raised some capital. Then they ride that high, and maybe they start to have the doubts again. They might want to leave your product. They might want to go explore something else. But then you have another event in a few months, and you're starting to build hype for it, starting to build the FOMO, and you can kind of see how this cycle repeats. And this isn't unethical. This is actually extremely ethical, because you are providing so much value to your customers through these events that you actually would be doing them a disservice if you allowed them to leave your product. That's the conviction you should have in this, and that is the case with fulfillment events because they are so valuable. All right, the last thing that I want to talk about in terms of how fulfillment events allow you to achieve scale, there's a lot of other things, of course, but these are just the three that I want to talk about in this video, and that is they give you some priceless marketing assets. Look at that. Honestly, that assets right there, that's the best word I've written in this entire video. They give you priceless marketing assets. Ever since we started throwing events at Fun Launch, most of our marketing has consisted of footage from the events, testimonials from the events, pictures from the events, clips from the events, whatever it is. The events have produced so much content for us that alone has made it extremely worth it for our business. And one reason why marketing assets from events specifically are so powerful is because they legitimize your business. Not sure if that's how you spell legitimize, but you kind of get the deal. I'm not very good at spelling. Events legitimize your business. If somebody is shopping around products and they fall on yours and they fall on these two others, and they see that these two others, they're online communities like everyone else is these days. They don't really visualize the community. They say, oh, you join, you jump on some Zoom calls, you have access to a Slack channel, all that cool stuff, which that's valuable. That's okay. But they see your product and they see your community, your service, whatever it is, and they see that you have these live events, and they see the hundreds of people that come together and they're playing sand volleyball together, or they're at a round table together, they're talking and networking. It brings your community to life, and it shows that there's actually real people buying your product, buying your service, joining your community. And it really, from a psychological standpoint, legitimizes your business to them. And at least when I'm shopping around for businesses, that makes me a lot more likely to buy that product over something that is like, maybe they have 0 people inside of the community, or maybe they have a couple hundred, but it's all online. But when you see something that's like real and tangible, like a business with fulfillment events, that really is a valuable marketing asset to have. Also, when you throw your events, it's a great time for testimonials. Like I was saying earlier, you have your entire community together, and it's okay to get testimonials via Zoom, or someone sends in a message, that still works. But it really is awesome to grab testimonials at events, because people are really involved and fully immersed inside of your brand and your community, and they're riding that high of the events. Events are a very transformational period in somebody's experience with your brand, but people are really just having a peak experience, and they're almost in another state of mind. They're almost in a different frame of consciousness. So when you grab testimonials at events, those are going to be the best testimonials that you'll ever get, because people are going to be loving your brand, your product, your service, your community, whatever it is. Unless you threw a shitty event, then I don't really know what to tell you. All right, those are 3 ways that fulfillment events allow you to achieve scale for your business. Like I said, there's a lot more. I might make another video on that later down the road, but these are the main ones in my opinion. And now I want to talk about how we actually structured our fulfillment events for our $30,000 product that allowed us to scale from $250K all the way up to $25 million in just under 4 years. All right, you can see down here on the iPad how we structured our fulfillment events. So what we've done is we typically do 3 fulfillment events each year. So I don't know why we landed on 3. It just seemed like a really good cadence. And also you have to keep in mind these events do cost money. We're charging $30,000 for this product, for this exact case study and example. So a portion of that $30K goes towards event expenses. That's how we're able to, throw these events without operating at a loss. It's kind of just grouped into the operating expenses of the product itself. However, they do cost money. And if we're doing one event a month, we're gonna be spending a ton of money. And we're gonna have to allocate a lot more price per head towards those operating expenses. So we just kind of landed on 3 a year, but also it's kind of a nice cadence because people have other events they're attending, they have vacations, and they also just want to, hunker down and work in their offices with their team for a couple months. And the time of year that we actually throw these events is the same every single year. We have one in the fall, we have one in winter, and we have one in the late spring. Now for the $30,000 product, we actually avoid throwing an event in the summer just because it's hard to, find a time where everyone's available. People are traveling, people are with their families. So we do the fall, we do the winter, and we do the late spring. So you can kind of see how this lines up and how this is at a cadence where you have an event every, 3 to 4 months. So it always kind of gives you something to chase after. And by the time one event finishes, they kind of, the high is done. We start promoting that next event and people start getting excited for it again. And it really helps keep people engaged and inside of your community. So now we do 3 events a year. So what actually are these events? What type of events are these? So the event that we do in the fall is a summit. So a summit is a very experiential event. So we make this one very fun. We make it very experiential. We make it family oriented. We invite our members of our community to fly out to wherever the destination is and to bring their families so that everybody can, hang out together as the community family, but all the families can meet each other too, which really strengthens the bond inside of your community. And when I say experiential, the places that we've done these at is we've done a cruise, we've done one in Mexico, we've done one in Hawaii, we've done one in Utah. We just try to go to really cool places where there's a lot to do and there's a lot of excursions we can do, but there's also just a lot of opportunity for the attendees to explore on their own and to have fun on their own without us having to do very much for it. Like a cruise, there's so much to do on a cruise. They can go to the casino, they can go to the pools, they can go to all the bars. We don't really have to do that, but it's still associated with our event, so people still have a great time at our event and associate those positive feelings and emotions with the event, but we really don't have to do very much of it. So that's kind of like the whole psychology behind a summit, is just to make it very fun, very experiential, and the location actually matters a lot. So for these experiential summits, we usually do about 3 hours of session per day, and the rest is free time or activities that are strengthening the community. And these 3 hours of session, we usually do them at the end of the day, from 7 to 10 p.m. but sometimes we sprinkle them throughout the middle of the day. It kind of depends on where we are, what the time zone is, how everyone's feeling, like what the weather is outside. But we only really limit the content and the training to those 3 hours. Then, like I said, the rest is experiential. We want people to have fun. This is the time where we all kind of go on a vacation together as a community. And even though we're not doing as much content, it really does strengthen the community, and everyone kind of bonds over the experience of going somewhere cool and having these really amazing lifelong memory type experiences together. The last thing I want to mention about a summit is these are typically 3 days long. So people are usually flying out to a destination. Like I said, we've done Hawaii, we've done Mexico, we've done cruises. So if somebody is flying out to a destination, you got to account for, 1 travel day on the beginning and 1 travel day at the end. So you kind of want to give them a decent amount of time to actually experience the trip. So 3 days is a good sweet spot. For the cruise, we actually did 5 days because that's usually kind of what the cruising length is. You can do some shorter cruises, but that's not really fun. So we decided to do 5 days for that. But for the other summits, we've done 3 days. And that gives people plenty of time to kind of settle in and to enjoy the experience. But then they can also get back home and pick up on their work, start to implement the stuff they learned at the summit, and not miss too much time. All right, so that covers summits. Now we're going to talk about workshops. So this is the next type of event that we do, and the workshops are very work heavy. So it's pretty much the complete opposite of the summits. The summits are very experiential with very little work. The workshops are pretty much all work. That's all we do. And we usually have about 8 to 12 hours of content per day. And we want people to feel, very exhausted mentally and even physically at the end of these workshops. Like the experiential stuff is fun, but this is where they actually get the value out of the community and the people that we are bringing together into the room and the education that's being taught. This is where a lot of that value is actually received by the attendee, because this is the stuff they can go and apply to their businesses, to their lives, or whatever it is that you are teaching. And out of these 8 to 12 hours, we usually have about 3 hours of speaking. So this will be coaches, this will be people from the community, whether it's you that is the person that is doing all the teaching, or you have other coaches to help you out. We'll have those people up on stage teaching, actually delivering new content. And then the rest of the event will be engaging activities. This will be peer-led breakout rooms, coach-led breakout rooms, games of Jeopardy, debates, roundtable activities. We did this one activity where all 250 people in the room, about half of them we labeled as investors, and then the other half we were labeled as people trying to raise money. And we had them all mingle and mesh together, and people were trying to raise money from each other, and we had prizes for whoever could raise the most money. And people were like standing up on tables and preaching. People were handing out like these fake, $1 million bills. And it was really fun. And this was very valuable because it taught people how to go out and raise capital and talk to people and, pitch your offer. It taught people how to listen to a pitch and try to point out the green green flags and the red flags. It was very educational, but it was also fun and engaging. If you have somebody up on stage talking for 8 to 12 hours a day, about 5 to 10% of that content is actually going to be remembered and implemented. But if you do teaching and then you do engaging activities, that really helps people remember the stuff that they learned from actually implementing it and actually doing it at the event. And like I said this entire time, these events are all about community, and these engaging activities allow the members of your community to engage with each other and build that relationship. All right, so we've talked about summits, we've talked about workshops. Now the last event that we throw for the members of our $30,000 product is an exclusive party. Now you'll see later on in this program, but we actually throw an annual conference every single year that's open to the public. We allow people to purchase tickets and come and attend this event. And at the end of this event, we have an exclusive after party for the members of our $30,000 community. Now I know what you might be thinking, we've talked about a summit, which is 3 days. We talked about a workshop, which is like 2 to 3 days. How is an exclusive after party that's only a couple hours after a conference the same amount of value? Well, the reason that this is so valuable is because it really elevates the status and strokes the egos of the members of our community. Because throughout this entire event, we are constantly talking about the after party that we're throwing, that only members of our community are allowed to attend. And we also deck these people out with different merchandise. They get different badges, and they're really just elevated individuals throughout the entire conference. And then we make this event very experiential, super fun. In the past, we've done supercar racing, we've done a yacht party, we've rented out a section of Universal Studios. Whatever it is, we try to make it very fun, very experiential. And this one's all about just making memories and strengthening our community. All right, so those are the 3 events that we throw for our community every single year. We have the summits, which are very experiential. They're 3 days long. The workshops, which are work heavy. And I don't think I mentioned this when I was going over workshops. We actually only do these for 2 days. With 8 to 12 hours of content coming at you every single day. If you did a third day, it might work, but I feel like at that point people are very fatigued, very, very tired. So we usually end it at 2 days and send them home to implement all the stuff that they learned. And then we do the exclusive after party that's on the back end of our annual conference. Now, I wasn't going to talk about this, but we actually have another product that we introduced a couple years ago. The only deliverable on this product is events, and we charge $75,000 for it. And I'm actually going to show you right now. I'm going to give you another case study on how we structure this product and how we actually made people willingly give us that much money to just attend a couple events every single year. All right, so our $75,000 event structure. So the main reason why this product is so successful and so expensive and why people are willing to give us that money is because of the people inside. So we have a very strict criteria on who is allowed to join this program. You actually have to apply to join, and you have to be approved to be a part of the program, be a part of the community, and attend the events. And the criteria for ours was you had to be managing a fund that had at least $10 million AUM or are running a business that has generated $10 million in revenue. So that already excludes a lot of people. And it's very obvious that this group is full of very high achieving individuals and a lot of people that are kind of in the similar stage of business. For this product, we would do 3 to 4 events a year, and these events would also be very experiential. And since these events were so small, we only had about like 10 to 15 people attending them. We were really able to dive into the experience and do some really cool activities with the members of this group. We took them to Alaska. We took them out to Hawaii. We took them to the Waste Management Golf Tournament, where we also rode hot air balloons and did this like Navy SEAL training. We did a lot of really cool stuff with these people. And these were also very similar structures to our summits, but only with 10 to 15 people instead of a couple hundred. We would do 3 to 4 hours a day of content, and then the rest would be time for the people to talk to each other, to network, to build relationships, and also we'd be doing these really fun, crazy activities and trying to build some lifelong memories for these people. And what's really important about these events is you want them to feel luxurious. If you're charging, $50,000, $75,000, even $100,000 for just a couple events a year, these events have to be very valuable. The people in the room have to be very valuable, and the experiences have to feel they have to have almost a luxury feel to them. Because you don't want these people to be questioning if their $75,000 investment was worth it or not. You want to make them think that they have already gotten their money back on just one event, let alone the 2 to 3 others that you're going to be giving to them throughout the year. And the last thing I want to mention for these $75,000 events is a lot of the content is peer led. So like I said, there is criteria to get into this program. You have to apply. Everybody that is a part of this type of product is very successful. You should be making these people leading the content. You should have them sharing what's working for them, what they've learned through their journeys, what they would teach the group, what they would give back. One activity that we do is a give and ask. We give each member of the group 30 minutes and they get up in front of everybody and they do a 15-minute give where they teach something, and they do a 15-minute ask where they ask for advice from the group. And this is a very valuable activity because they get to learn from all the individuals in the room, but they also get to give some of their knowledge back because they have already achieved some success in their careers. Now, this is a very doable model. There are so many businesses and so many products out there that are only events. And it's actually a very simple product to deliver on. You don't have to make a course. There's no one-on-one coaching. All you have to do is create some really amazing events for your community. You can charge, $50, $75, $100,000, which is another amazing way to achieve scale in your business. All right, so we've talked about summits, we've talked about workshops, we've talked about exclusive after parties, and we've talked about $75,000 event-only products. This is one of the ways we were able to scale Fund Launch from $250,000 all the way up to $25 million. This was essentially the core of the product that we sold that allowed us to achieve scale. Now, like I said at the beginning of the video, this exact model might work for you or your business, but this should get the juices flowing on how powerful events are and how you can leverage the power of events to deliver a better product and give more value to your customers, but also ways to charge more for your products and services, how to increase retention, how to get priceless marketing assets, and how to ultimately achieve scale through fulfillment events. All right, that's all I have for this video, and I will see you in the next one.